I hear you go. You feel like you can't trust anyone around you, and you doubt and blame yourself the most for everything, whatever happened to you. Let me ask you something. What exactly is it that you are afraid of? Are you afraid of failing or losing control? Or are you afraid of trusting your own voice? Look, I do understand. I've been through so much since I was a child that eventually I got to the point where I wasn't only doubting myself, but my whole entire existence. Because if you've been through so much in your life, it's normal that doubt and control become your number one to go safest habit. Because somewhere along the way, you've learned that your voice has never mattered, that your needs have always been too much, your timing always inconvenient. And I'm not even talking about your boundaries because they're totally rude. So no wonder that your nervous system has responded by trying to save you from disappointment and made doubt your first language. So little by little, you become addicted to controlling your whole life because having control feels safer than trusting yourself. When every time you say or do something feels like it isn't enough. But baby girl, self-doubt is the reason why you're still living a life that was never meant for you. Are you not tired of living like this? Constantly doubting yourself, trying to control everyone and everything around you. In this video, I want to talk about how you can start building the kind of self trust and confidence that doesn't need validation or approval from anyone but you. How does that sound? Let's talk about how self trust is broken. I want you to be honest with yourself now and put your hand up if you've ever been in a relationship and you've got your heart broken, and some little part of you knew you shouldn't trust that person anymore. But you held on to that person like if there were no one else better for you. You've over edited messages like 100 times. Then you send it, then spiraled, and then re explained yourself another 100 times. And then you wish you wouldn't have said anything at all. Your brain felt overwhelmed and your body begged you for rest. But instead of resting, you build a whole case scenario in your head, justifying why you can't rest and why you don't deserve it. Because you don't need anything slowing you down, do you? And if you're in a survival mode, rest feels just like a waste of time. You feel like you need to keep pushing, otherwise, you feel like you're falling behind. You said yes faster than your mouth could even ask your body for consent. And you've apologized 10 times before you even finished whatever you were trying to say. Whenever you go out, you always walk into the rooms, scanning people like a radar tracking a funnel cloud. You can tell who's tense, who's bored, who's hypersensitive, so you wouldn't be the reason for the next storm. And you're so proud of yourself for being kind and caring, for having everything under control. But baby girl, did you know that this is your fear acting and talking for you? No surprise that this chaos feels natural to you because every time it gets quiet, it feels like a moment right before bad things happen. Calm things make you suspicious and anxious. You don't trust people who treat you well, so you reject them. You don't trust a job that feels steady, so you get bored easily. What happens is that you don't trust yourself to choose anything that would hurt you later. And then you end up choosing nothing because you don't trust your own judgment unless someone else approves it. And then you wait for others to confirm your low expectations. Let me say this like a friend who always been there with you through these sleepless nights when you've been wondering why you feel so stuck. You think you're not capable of trusting yourself, not because you are broken, but because you've been punishing yourself for existing. We are all different, and there are so many reasons behind why you can't trust yourself now. But you didn't stop trusting yourself over the night. You've started developing lack of self-trust and self-worth in your early years. Maybe you didn't feel safe growing up. Maybe you were constantly criticized, bullied, or abused. Maybe you didn't have the kind of support you needed. Growing up, I never felt enough. I had to grow up very fast as a child and learn that my needs and feelings were never important. When I was honest with people, they labeled me too much or too rude. No matter if I said too much or too little, I would be still misjudged and punished even for the things I never said. I was dreaming too high. I was called delusional. I was always different from all of my friends. I tried to fight it and kept explaining myself every time because being misjudged and constantly labeled different just felt so sad. But I learned quickly that if I wanted to be accepted and liked by the others, I had to be less myself and more of someone else. I had this urge to build the version of me everyone would like. I thought that if I was perfect, if I could please everyone around me, I would be finally safe. And I quickly became addicted to it because I saw the more I was pretending to be someone else, the more people liked me. And the more people liked me, the more powerful I felt. Let me tell you, girl, this strategy really works, but only until the performance starts eating you alive. My life soon started to feel just like a video game set to the hard mode. No pause button, no save rooms. I felt like if I slowed down, I would lose a game. Every day felt like a relentless cycle of running, fixing, pleasing, predicting, and performing. You just had to be careful not to upset anyone. Don't ask for too much. Don't show your real you. Don't stop pretending or pause, or otherwise it would all fall apart. So, yeah, of course, after some time, you just completely stop trusting yourself because you're not allowed to be yourself. You learn that being too sensitive, too intense, too emotional, too driven just simply comes with consequences. And then it's very easy to abandon your real self. When you spend too long managing other people's actions and reactions, you will eventually forget who you are without their approval. And that hold your breath and be small just to make everyone happy strategy works until it doesn't. Because one day you wake up and you can't even hear your own voice over the noise around you. You can't tell anymore what you feel, what you want, because every choice feels like a risk that might blow up right in your face later. You become a stranger in your own life, my darling. Good at playing a part, terrible at being your real self. If you ever felt like you've been performing your life instead of living it, you're not being dramatic like people might have told you. Your body has learned how to protect you at all costs and disconnected you from your true values and desires. So you don't know who you are anymore. Trust me when I say it's not too late to drop these scripts and let your real self finally speak for you. You might be thinking now, okay, Kate, but I'm just being reasonable, sensible, and practical. No, Michael, you being terrified of being yourself because what people would think if you show your real self. You are convinced they would like you less or they would think of you less. So instead of risking being misunderstood and misjudged, you lock yourself in. You imprison yourself inside your own body by trying to control your every word, your every move, every decision. Asking for permission to exist from people, let's be honest, might not even truly care about you or your feelings. And the worst part is that if you're going to keep doing this, you will eventually lose the last pieces of self respect because you keep trading yourself for other people's approval. And that, my girl, has never been a fair deal. I remember the first time when I really started to feel disgusted in my own body. Not because there was something wrong with it, but because I kept using it to act out and control life that wasn't mine. I was already lost in life from all the abuse, constant shame, blame, and criticism I experienced as a child. And once you become an adult, you know well it won't get any better. I know there's many of you feeling lost in life because you've performed from the place of insecurity for so long that you still haven't figured out what your true identity is. And that's when your mind starts experiencing mental discomfort. You are not able to make simple decisions without overanalyzing and calculating the correct move based on what you assume others expect or think of you. You start overthinking every word before it even comes out your mouth, re-evaluating your reactions and actions, and then justifying your own behavior. So overthinking becomes your full-time defense mechanism. You've turned thinking into control punishment. Now, I know many will argue that overthinking is actually good for you. Yes, overthinking might be a good short term solution, but if you turn it into a long term trap, that's where the real damage begins. Because you convinced that if you just think long enough, you can control what comes next. So you can avoid pain, you can avoid failure or disappointment. But what does overthinking actually do isn't solving the problems for you, it's delaying your own life. There's no amount of analysis they would make you feel safer, or they would help you to come to the best solution if your core belief is that you can't trust yourself. I used to overthink everything to perfection for days, weeks, for months, even years. And even after that, I usually end up taking no actions at all, simply because I felt so overwhelmed by all of the gathered informations and replaying the potential scenarios in my head over again that made deciding impossible for me. So what happens then is that the fear of failure will delay your decision making. And the longer you delay, the bigger and scarier the task or decision seem to be. Then you blame and shame yourself for failing, which leads to more overthinking. And this is exactly what keeps you stuck in a loop of constant worries, fear, and mental exhaustion. Okay, so how do you get this right? Because you don't rebuild self worth and self trust when it's completely shattered by controlling your life and making promises you will become a new person till the next week. You rebuild it by proving that you won't abandon yourself in times when you need you the most. The 2 minute rule. I want you to pick one thing that takes 2 minutes. Don't overthink it. Simply 2 minutes or even less. What's the most important is that you show up. This will help you to build confidence and discipline by taking tiny promises when no one's watching. Build a proof list because evidence is what beats the empty hype. Create a folder, the best on your phone. You can name it something like prove that I can do it. And every time when the blame and shame thoughts show up, you will open this proof folder and read what you wrote down to remind yourself what you're capable of. Start with one honest no per day to train your nervous system. Pick one micro boundary saying, no, I can't do this. Full stop. You're not being selfish no matter what the other people think. By setting clear boundaries, you teach people that your time and your needs are also important. You will see how your energy will shift over the time. Ride it, don't fight it. At the times when panic spikes, you really need to stop fixing your life and everything what goes wrong at that moment and focus on breathing and staying calm instead. It's important that you stay with yourself and get yourself through it instead of running away from it and trying to fix it. Don't just rehearse affirmations. If you ever tried affirmations, like everyone's out there tells you, you probably know that this is not always working, especially when your confidence and self worth is broken. Instead, try to reframe your affirmations around the fact that you know are true. Instead of I'm enough and I trust myself, you can say something like I acknowledge the feeling of being enough and I'm choosing to let go of it now so I can trust myself again. Or instead of saying, I'm confident and I trust my decisions, you can say something like, I'm becoming more confident in decision making by setting small boundaries. If you keep abandoning yourself in a small moment, you will never trust yourself in a big decisions. You need to remind yourself that you're not stuck. You're just too tired of translating your emotions into something acceptable for everyone but you. You're too tired of always being that nice girl everyone can count on except you. Too tired of being treated like a backup plan by people you always put first. Too tired of shrinking your whole entire personality just to keep the rooms comfortable. And if setting yourself boundaries means losing people, remember that it's never your loss. Alone doesn't mean abandon because people who truly value you will stick around. I was always terrified of being alone, terrified of people rejecting me. I spent most of my life looking for safety in other people, in other places and distractions because I never had that safe place inside me. I'd rather spend time with people who hurt me badly than being alone. I allowed it because being alone felt worse than being mistreated. You, my girl, didn't choose this life. You've chosen not to be alone. Trust me, every woman, sooner or later in life, comes to the point when she starts asking herself, who is she even running from? And that's when you realize that you've been never running away from people. You, my girl, been running away from the only person who was actually always there for you since the beginning. Remember, the moment when you start running away from yourself is the moment your real life begins. Because no matter how much you can control things around you or how small you shrink for the others, you will never be able to keep them all happy. That was never your job. Saying what you believe, saying no to be available for everyone 24/7 isn't selfish. There's simply no safe place without self respect. Not everyone deserves to walk that safe path with you. So stop chasing what has never been yours. Stop trading your worth for respect. Stop translating yourself to people who will never listen to you anyway. Just stop begging for belonging. The only safe place the world can take from you is you. Because once you belong to yourself, no room can ever make you feel unwanted again. And if being alone still scares you, it's because you've learned being alone means abandon. When you start keeping promises to yourself, you will realize that being alone actually means accompanied by someone you can trust unconditionally, which is you. Don't be that girl who doubts and overthinks her entire existence anymore. Be the woman who isn't afraid to listen to her own voice. Baby girl, you've survived the hardest chapters. You've carried the weight no one saw. You've hid these parts of you that were too bright for the small people to understand. You've learned to scan and control rooms because you've never felt safe in them. But even that still doesn't make you weak. It made you responsible for protecting yourself in an environment that should have protected you. And that is exhausting. I believe in you. You can rewrite this chapter to the one where you come back to yourself, but this time you will stay. After all what you've been through, you owe yourself safety and your presence. And if no one has told you lately, I'm proud of you because you've survived the hardest and you're still here. You not the girl who quits anymore. You are the woman who rebuilt on the lessons of the ones she once was. If this resonated with you, you are exactly where you needed to be. Be patient and stay with me because this is the only beginning of who you are becoming. See you next video.